Welcome back, all my 40K fanatics out there. I'm DJ here with Tim's Nation to bring you just kind of a channel update. This week was really rough. And typically I like to release videos, even some solo content, on a regular schedule. And anyone who's ever worked in the restaurant industry can sympathize with me that when it rains, Sephiroth summons Meteor and everything comes down. So I just kind of want to give you guys a channel update that even while busy with work and not able to get on camera and record and talk about Warhammer, I have still been talking a lot of Warhammer with our good buddy Lane and some of the directions of what we're going to be doing here with the channel. And so this video, I just kind of want to throw out some of the directions of what we're going to be doing here in the future so people can give their input on some of the things they may like, don't like, or some also just in general what we can do to help better the content that we bring here on the channel. Over the last little under a year, we were able to cross that 1,000 subscriber threshold, which is really super important. Anyone on YouTube, any YouTuber knows that that first 1,000, it feels so good. It feels so good to have the support of everyone out there and the continued support, the continued subscribers and investment in the channel. Guys, we're here. We're going to keep coming. We're going to keep bringing more content and start to develop more, and it just all around, and try to create some stuff that's new and unique and all around appeal to many different factions and facets of the Warhammer 40K community. A lot of my content is very Necron focused. You know, it's one of the primary armies I play, as well as a little bit of Grey Knights, as I've had some success with them competitively within the new 10th edition. Some we've talked about on the channel, some we haven't, some smaller events and stuff like that. But for the most part, those have been the primary focus armies that I talked about, mostly into Necrons. And that's something I'm going to continue doing, especially with the Codex release coming up, talking about a lot of different units, what they can do, what they can't do. And as friends of the channel know, I'm not trying to say that my word is law with any of these. What I want to do is I want to start the conversation, start talking about these units, start talking about combos, and be able to not only give content for the competitive gamer, but also give content for the newer gamer or the casual gamer. Because even if some of the content is more directed competitively, I personally like to try to go over every single unit, find hidden gems. And even if I can't find a hidden gem in a specific unit, I may be talking about a unit that you really like. You like the model, you like the abilities that it has, or some sense of it, but you feel like something is missing. And not only myself being able to bring information on that unit from a competitive perspective, but the community that we've been building here on Tim's Nation that has been very friendly, very, very positive, and such good feedback, not only for us at the channel to help develop and become a better channel overall, but become better gamers. And there's a lot of information there through many of the videos that I implore, go look at. If there's units that you like and you just have been struggling to figure out ways to get them on the table, there's so much content already that we've covered so many Necron units. Please take a minute, look back on some of those videos, make comments. I'm going to be doing my best to catch up on a lot of comments here lately. This week was a good week for me. I have 3 children, as I've said a couple times, and being in restaurants, I was in pizza for all of their lives, which means Halloween is an absolute no-go. Halloween is the busiest day of the year in pizza. So this was the first year I ever got to go trick-or-treating, and me and my family got to go. I dressed my 3 sons all dressed up as Pokemon. Me and my wife were Pokemon trainers, and yeah, throw a picture up here and embarrass them all. And it was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun. We were able to meet some of the neighbors that we don't get to see on a regular basis. And my direct neighbors who just moved in recently, I found out that they are Magic the Gathering Commander players, so we might have a card gaming night in the future. It was a great time. Also, Lane and myself filmed our second Halloween Skeletons versus Zombies. And to commemorate this now annual tradition, Lane and myself decided, and this was Lane's idea. This was Lane's idea before anyone comes at me about having a trophy for this. This was Lane's idea. So now we have a trophy for the Pumpkin King, the 40K Pumpkin King that we can battle over next year. So, Lane, it was a great idea, and I took it to the next level. And with that, with having trophies and awards and stuff like that, want to go over into what the future is going to be for the channel. Now, we've kind of slowed down with some of the data sheets. There's a lot of the data sheets now that I would review and talk about have a lot less finesse to them. You know, like the obelisk is kind of bland. It's kind of boring. Doomsday arcs, what can I say about them that hasn't already been said before? And then when you start looking at overlords and lords, it gets kind of redundant. However, we do have that new codex coming out, and I'm looking forward to reviewing all that stuff, as well as some of the speculations and rumors that we see that Games Workshop is going to be undoubtedly releasing in the near future. As well, Lane and myself have talked about doing more solo content, where for me, anyone who knows me outside of YouTube knows I don't shut up. I am a talker. I will talk your ear off. And you want to start talking 40K with me, I will not stop. Therefore, I'm going to be starting a, whatever you want to call it, a segment, a stream of videos where that is going to be called Tim's Talk or Table Talk. I haven't decided which way I want to go with it yet, but it's mostly going to be just me coming out here and throwing thoughts on armies, on concepts. I may bring up a combo that I'm looking at and saying, could this be viable? We'll do stuff. We'll do top-down table views with it, some pictures, some photography to go with it. And this, once again, is going to be something that's going to be for not only the competitive gamer, but the casual or newer gamer as well, as we'll talk about how these things interact, which, although this unit may not be the unit you want to see or use, the rules and stuff may also help to get that trigger point of going, oh, that's how this works. And be able to help build that foundation that you can take back to your tables to be able to have a fun game and not feel like, man, why is this unit just not performing? I know it should be. And that's some of the stuff we want to cover for many, many of the armies. Lane has discussed as well being able to start recording on his own too, that we will throw stuff out here, talking about some of the specific factions that he runs, as well as just start the conversation. Start the conversation about all these units and everything like that. Now, hopefully in the near future, I will be able to present Table Talk or Tim's Talk as a live segment where I will be able to talk about certain things as well as answer comments. I'm looking forward to that. We're working towards that right now. I got a buddy of mine, Dan, who is going to actually be coming on board to help us with some of the live streaming. Initially, we are going to start to do a monthly live stream. It will probably actually shooting for January as for when we do our first live stream event. And I'm going to tell you, it's going to be rough. It's going to be dirty. It's going to be messy because we have absolutely no idea what we're doing. But we're going to try. We're going to start it out. At first, it's going to probably just be the camera barely on the table, on us talking, answering chats, and just us hanging out, playing a game of Warhammer and talking to all you guys, answering questions and just coming up with theories and everything like that. And I want to try to create a more interactive interface with it. Over time, as we develop more technology and more know-how into it, we will get closer to the table. We will get the dice box tray. We will get all this stuff. So please tune in to us for the beginning of it, especially if you have knowledge out there that you could bestow on us to help accelerate this channel to that next level. So I've talked about the Tim's Talk or Table Talk. I haven't decided on what I want to call it yet, or Table Time. I've heard Table Talk a couple times, so it's either going to be Table Time, since it'll be time in front of the table, or Tim's Talk, albeit obviously there's a reason. So needless to say, though, then there is the final piece of news and information for what we're going to direct. Now, Lane and I, as well as many others in the community, have discussed this, and we're going to be starting to get some more people on the channel that want to, especially during the holidays and during the winter, are not going to be traveling as much. So we're going to be able to get some more people out here to put some more armies and showcase some really cool looking armies, some really cool looking designs. Some armies may be competitive, some not, but we're going to be getting all the friends on the channel. Definitely. A lot of people that I game with, a lot of people I travel with, especially some from my team, Burning Rivers Games. We're just going to get them all on the channel. as much as we can. Now, with that being said, with the standard games that we put out here, the Necron content, some Deathwatch talking content, the just talking content, where we're just talking about Warhammer as a whole, just hanging out and having a good time. For me, a lot of what develops from the channel is when I'm at work in a restaurant and I'm working or I'm cleaning something and I want something to listen to. That's the type of content that I like, something I don't have to 100% zone into. But with our videos and our live streams, I would like to have a stronger user interface, which will allow someone watching to understand more what's going on without having to completely focus on the video from beginning to end, since some of the videos may get up to 3 hours in length. It's a game of Warhammer 40K, as it were. Now, the last piece is something I'm very excited about. Anyone who knows me knows I am a huge, huge wrestling fan. In fact, my moniker amongst my Burning River guys is The Game, which would be a reference to my all-time favorite wrestler, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, Paul Levesque, Triple H. All-time favorite. I mean, the guy has done it all, and it is top of the game, top mind in the industry. All-time favorite. Big Triple H fanboy. Not even going to hide it. And luckily enough, because of my wrestling jokes, my wrestling swagger at events, if you will, I have been given the moniker The Game by previous Warhammer 40K enthusiasts. So thank you guys for not making my nickname in the wargaming industry something not family friendly, because anyone who knows gamers know that a lot of nicknames usually end up being not too family friendly. So I'll take it. Very happy with that one. With that being said, and saying I'm a big wrestling fan, one of my desires in Warhammer, one of the pinnacle things that I want to do, is be part of an event that I can win a championship belt. But until that day comes, Lane and I are going to be instituting the Tim's Nation title belt. We are currently in the process of trying to design the thing. Initially, it may be kind of rough, and then as this picks up over time, we may develop into a better, stronger, nicer belt. The way this is going to work is we are going to be basing the championship not just on an army list. Instead, it is going to be on a person and a faction. So initially, since Lane and I are the basic founders of this channel in general, the belt will be contested between Lane and myself. We will both bring 4 factions to the table each. Lane will be bringing his Custodes, his Death Guard, as I'm brain farting here because I'm thinking, hey, I could slow down and speak for a minute so I can show you some of these beautiful miniatures that he's had. So let's start that again just so I can throw it out here. So first you have Lane's Death Guard, which we've mostly seen on the table during the AdMech rivalry, as well as our Zombies versus Skeletons matchups. Next, you have Lane's Custodes, his golden boys, beautifully painted, that he recently just finished up a display board and maybe putting them up for Armies on Parade coming up here soon. Next up, you have Lane's Votann. These Votann have not seen a lot of play in 10th edition because their rules have gotten kind of plain. But now with the change in their points and some of their rules, that has reignited the fire for Lane to start getting the Votann on the table, but he needed some time to get some models ready, and he's closing in on that, so we will be seeing the Votann returning to Tim's Nation here very soon. And last, but surely not least, Lane's most competitive faction, the Deathwatch. And Lane has taken these Deathwatch to many tournaments and run them very, very well, so we will be seeing them as well. As for myself, I will be bringing, of course, my boys, the Necrons, my skeletons of all sorts of flavors. You'll have my Grey Knights, which are the one army that has definitely been an underdog this edition, and I can't help but say I just love playing them. What they do and the tools that they have been very, very unique for me this edition and have been probably my winningest competitive army outside of the channel. You'll also have my AdMech. AdMech will be getting a codex here very, very soon, so I'm interested to see what changes they have. Hopefully, some stuff like the Dragoons can come back around. Otherwise, my AdMech might be a little wimpy because I'm stubborn and I only want to play the models I want to play. And last is a mystery army. Yes, there will be one army that is an entire faction that will be showing up on Tim's Nation here very, very soon. It is a surprise and will be a new addition to all the battle reports, all the games, and this tournament that we'll be holding. Now, in this tournament, Lane, his armies will face off against mine. We have not determined if it's going to be random or if we're just going to pair them or if we're going to do some back and forth roulette between it. We haven't decided yet. And at that point in time, once we know that game, we will be building lists specifically to go against that army. And that is going to be a unique piece of this title belt. Whoever holds the title holds it with that faction. So a challenger can challenge that person for the title, and they will be challenging that faction, and both players will know the opposing factions coming into it. So they will be able to potentially use units that we don't see that often because maybe they do better in just this one matchup versus this army. On top of that, there will be a champion and challenger advantage. The champion will, at this time, and we are still establishing a rule set, the champion will be allowed to pick the mission that will be played. The challenger will then get to pick the deployment, as well as any and all special rule that will be included into it. We'll most likely be excluding the one that calls for 2 special rules because it just makes things way too messy and complicated, but all the rest will be clean and clear. Now, after discussing with Lane, he said that maybe go the other way with it, where the challenger gets to pick the mission, and that may be a possibility, but these will be chosen options by the players involved in this matchup. Now, we have discussed it with many people in the gaming community, and there is going to be some people popping up on the channel to play some games. And if they wish to challenge for the belt, there is only one stipulation. The belt must be defended once each 30-day cycle. So if they wish to hold the belt and be a contender and be a champion on the channel, then they must defend the belt in 30 days. If not, the belt will be vacant, and we will bring in 2 new challengers to compete for a vacant title belt based on games played on the channel, games played outside the channel. There will be a reason, and we will bring them together and also try and garner some excitement between these 2 events. Again, a big point of this is the champion is not a champion of this army list. It is the faction specifically. So going into the matchup, since Lane and myself are the 2 primary ones on the channel, if I am the champion holding with Necrons and Lane wishes to challenge with his Votann, he knows that he will be facing Necrons and can therefore gear his list for a Necron onslaught, as would I going into the Votann. If the Votann were to win and he were to hold that title and take the title, if Lane plays with Deathwatch or anyone else, the title is not on the line. But with the Votann, the title will be on the line with that army specifically going against whomever the challenger is under our challenger rules, which we are still developing all of them. Gladly take some feedback onto it. Definitely interested in it. We do want to keep it within the realm of a competitive game of 40K, but I am very, very locked into the champion and the faction stay the same, but the lists may change from matchup to matchup. That is a very, very important part to me, and I guess you could say an unyielding part to it about it. So that's what we're looking at for here for the channel. Again, I apologize that I have this lull in a moment. I have said many times before, I'm a restaurant manager, which means that when it gets bad, it gets bad. And because I took the time off to enjoy and truly enjoy, and I had a wonderful time. I cannot tell you how happy I was to be able to go trick-or-treating with my kids for the first time. And, you know, with my eldest son getting older, you know, I start to get worried that he's not going to want me to come around, not want dad going trick-or-treating with him, or just miss out on this opportunity. So I'm very blessed that I was able to have this opportunity, not only to go trick-or-treating with my oldest son, but I get to go trick-or-treating with my entire family and dress up in costumes. I know my wife hates me for that one because she didn't want to dress up. She's like, it's the kids, it's the kids. I'm like, oh no, we're dressing up. And I gave her some options, and I told her, I was like, listen, the more of these you shoot down, the more and more we get closer to giant costumes and weird fruits and things like that as we come together as a family. Pokemon Trainer did well. Pokemon Trainer was simple, easy, and we had a great time. It was up until it started snowing, man. People, stop putting Christmas decorations up before November. You're summoning snow. You summon it, man. That's how it's happening. I heard someone say this, and you know what? I believe it. I believe that the early Christmas decorations are summoning snow in October. Okay, well, that's where we are for now. I'm going to take a minute and I'm going to record my first of these Table Talk, Tim Talk times and get one of these out here because I just want to, got some Warhammer to talk about, got some cool things to talk about. And yeah, that's going to be it. Guys, as always, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon.